I'll begin by saying that what is happening, or what has happened, I don't know how much of it's happening right now, but what has happened on college campuses it's ridiculous. Seriously, this is ridiculous. Are we as a nation beginning to now lose our ability to think? I mean, to actually engage in constructive thinking and getting to the facts in this most, what should be the most factual-based environments that there are. Are we? I do not care whether you are for Palestine or for Israel. Everyone should be allowed to passionately voice their opinion, which is their inalienable right, but in a civil, peaceful manner. How is anarchy, looting, verbally and physically threatening people going to achieve your aims? How is it? If you are so right and know that you are, then the facts should defend itself. I've seen videos of students and professors yelling, screaming, and shouting at each other over who's right, even these racist antics against Jews and Palestinians. This is what is deplorable. A lot of people, especially young adults, and I was one of them. I'm still a young adult, but I would say when I was more of a young adult, they want to be a part of something, and I get it. They dislike the lack of progress they see in government and all the negative infecting our way of life, and they want to oppose it and bring about change. They want to be a part of like a change movement of some kind. I'd say this is normal. This is human nature, and it's brought us good at work to counter injustice. But like I mentioned about group mentality, if we are not owning our beliefs and questioning why we believe in it, why are we defending this cause? Why are we taking a stand for this kind of an issue? If we are not owning our beliefs, then we are losing our autonomy, and we are just succumbing to owning the idea of someone or something else through a group mentality without knowing the why, other than thinking it's just something revolutionary or great for venting or channeling energy. I mean, seriously. Here's my question to those listening. How many of you have seriously looked at as many facts to this and from both sides, as objective as possible to this highly complex issue? Forget for a moment what your professor has said. Have you actually studied the history going back hundreds of years and all those that occupied the land? Have you looked at the anti-Jewish and anti-Palestinian anti-Semitism and the events of World War I and II and its aftermath? Have you read the stories of the Holocaust survivors as much as the atrocities of the Palestinians, but also the aggression and victims of both sides? I bet that many listening here have not. You have not taken the time to actually look through all of your sources and to verify everything that you are being taught. In a cancel culture where everything is practically on demand now with a click, fast service things at our disposal, we rely on quick answers and facts to feed our bias or the group we belong to. And so we filter out anything that doesn't align with our beliefs or affiliation because, again, we believe we are so right. We are right and everybody is wrong. But this isn't thinking. Anyone claiming to have the best answer or the right answer to the facts, whether it's historical, political, religious, or whatever, it doesn't matter, they should be questioned. A Palestinian or Jewish professor or one teaching from one side, they should be listened to, but the facts broadly looked at, especially if it challenges their view or the kind of curriculum they are teaching. I mean, isn't this how academic institutions are supposed to be? They're supposed to be inclusive environments where, you have many different ideas, even interpretations on an issue. I don't care if it's the Pope, if it's Mother Teresa, the most pious person on planet Earth, or the most brilliant genius on Albert Einstein, who has some credibility or authority in society. We shouldn't just take and feed off of what is merely served, but we should always leave room to see the more. These riots occurring, I blame partly the professors for encouraging it as if to push some political agenda. Here you have college students just beginning to advance in their skill sets, being utilized as pawnery to kick off some movement. This is a horrible kind of exploitation. They should be taught the origins of the army Hamas and its creation and why it was needed for the Palestinians, but two, how Hamas became radicalized and energized, threatening a democratic Jewish state. But also they should be taught the stories of forceful occupation and injustices done to many innocent Palestinians living in the West Bank and Gaza, and the lack of resources and the necessities being given to them. There's always going to be room for opinion and bias here, but what matters here is the broader story and the critique to the facts at hand. I mean, this isn't a game. Many of you are probably even already asking me, Josh, what is your opinion? What is my opinion? No matter what I say, somebody isn't going to like it. But if I had to give one, it'd be this. I try to pursue the truth and only what is the most just thing for all people in a situation like this. Yet I know that doesn't make me infallible, and my stance could very well change if I remain open to truth and doing what is the just thing for all people. Because in these kinds of situations, that's what really matters the most. This isn't a sport or betting on the winner and loser. We're not debating a policy here or about whose team is better. I mean, we are talking about people and their lives here. Israel is a secular, democratic Jewish state that does its best to uphold the rights and liberties of all of its citizens so that they can live in peace and safety regardless of who they are. Sure, it's not perfect, and its treatment towards the Palestinians at times especially. Yet, you have a non-established Palestinian territory that isn't a democracy claiming through many negotiations and treaties that it wants to live in peace with a democratic Jewish state. Yet, when it is suppressed, it uses that as a justification for retaliatory strikes and bombardments on innocent Jewish civilians. It's terrorism. And then, they chant these mantra threats to wipe Israel off the map. Israel is gracious to at least have put up with it and have given food and water, even electricity, to Palestinian areas up until recently. I mean, for years, Palestinians have had much of their basic necessities supplied by Israel. They didn't have to do that. Yet, when your army targets innocents and the occupier shuts it off, you blame them for how humane they are. You blame somebody that's been providing you necessities, and then when you go after them, you take it, they take it away from you in order to protect their citizens, and you blame them. And then when you have these militants going into Israel, killing people, and some even raping and pillaging, I mean, that isn't even democratic. It's evil, it's diabolical, and savagery. Yet too, how is it right that Palestinian families and children have their homes invaded if they aren't doing anything criminal? Children shouldn't have to go to school and worry if they are going to be shot by the Palestinian or the Jew. One does one, the other does another in defense or retaliation, and so the cycle continues. That is how complexly dynamic the situation is. But I also believe that the root to a lot of this isn't just political or territorial, but it is in essence ideological. It's the deep beliefs each has about the other that have carried generationally and is taught from one to the next. Many Palestinians and Hamas have a deep belief about their right to the land and an animosity towards Jews stemming from this apocalyptic belief system that many Muslim fundamentalists hold to. This belief that in the end times they would struggle against the Jews and the Christians before their Imam Mahdi, which is like the Islamic Messiah, comes. Now, I know not all Palestinians hold to this in this way or extreme forms of Islamic fundamentalism, but if you listen to some members of Hamas and hear this vile hatred that they have and its religious fanaticism, that is where a lot of the inspiration comes from. Or maybe the hate isn't just so much religious as it is just pure hatred. It's pure hate. Still in the form of an ideology, but going back to the grand and great-grandparents because of how Jews came in droves to settle and take up land and then enforce a Jewish state upon everybody. And so the story has been passed down from one generation to the next. So many may not even be aware of where their hate comes from because that's just the way that they were raised and they don't spend a whole lot of time thinking about it. Or maybe it is the Jew taught from childhood that the Palestinians are just all thugs and terrorists. And so, and the Palestinians, they attack the Jews because they want them all exterminated, like what Hitler tried to do, and therefore Palestinians are just no better. The hate, prejudice, and animosity will only carry until understanding is developed, and until both can truly love neighbor as they do their own interests. And hopefully coexistence can come from that. But here are some of my important questions that I want to ask. Palestinians need to decide how they can coexist with a Jewish democracy, but they need to ask themselves, what does it mean to be Palestinian? Without the fanatical ideology of an army or a group of leaders embracing that ideology that want to destroy Jews. Israelis need to understand the struggle of the Palestinians better and decide how they can exist with them and go the higher ground they've been privileged by to better help and provide for the Palestinian people. That is my stance on the main points of this very complicated matter, because what matters is the just thing for all people in this. So, in my question to the students, and to the serious students of history, whether you're a history major, a political, social science major, whatever, if you're looking at the history and the historical records that we have on file here, my question is, what is your cause? Is your fight against the Jew, the Palestinian, a group being pitted against another? Or is it really against injustice and taking a stand for human dignity, including exposing the evil of a militant terror group? Are you willing to take a stand for all people instead of just looking at it from one side? So let's keep our academic institutions free from the weaponization of political propaganda and cancel culture, and to be safe environments where the ability to think isn't downgraded, but it's set to a higher standard, and the value of being challenged isn't taken so personally. These should be the most inclusive places that bring together the best minds to solve problems, instead of adding more to it, without the charades of dirty politics. Be passionate about what you believe. But if I happen to ask you a question, don't get all emotional and irrational, especially if I challenge you with simply asking, why do you believe that? And then telling you either why I disagree with you, my facts and my argument with, here's what I believe and why. And so I like to talk with some of you. If you happen to be listening this far, you can message me in the comments below or send me a direct message. Either way is fine. I want to keep a two-way open communication with you here, so that I'm having a dialogue with you, the listener. This isn't just about me and me creating my own fan club or some kind of like a monologue script, but I actually want to engage with y'all that are listening with me. And so feel free to reach out to me if you want to discuss this more, or if you even want to challenge me on what I believe. If there's something you don't like with what I said and you disagree, great. I welcome that. I welcome the challenge. I just ask that you keep it civil, and that you have facts to back up what you believe and why you believe it. But feel free to comment below, but I just ask that you keep it civil. And if you haven't yet, like and subscribe so that you can stay up to date. So with that, everybody, I'm Joshua, and I look forward to our next discussion.